For this recipe, you're going to need 1 pound of ground turkey, 1 teaspoon of sage, a half a teaspoon of sea salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and a dash of red chili pepper. Now this original recipe was for pork, so you can use pork for this. You can use a mixture of pork and turkey. I like to do turkey just because I wanted something a little bit healthier and a little bit less greasy. If you do choose to use pork, you can also add a little bit of cloves. The first time I made this recipe with the turkey, the cloves just didn't taste right, so I've left it out ever since. So I'm going to go ahead and mix my spices in this little jar. Now the original recipe actually called for 1 whole teaspoon of salt, but I just do a half a teaspoon of salt, and that seems to be plenty salty enough. So if you feel like it needs more salt, then go ahead and add a full teaspoon, or if you're trying to watch your sodium, then half a teaspoon is plenty. If you like your sausage a little bit spicier, then definitely add more, but just a little bit does it. So I have my seasonings mixed in here. I'm just gonna give it a quick stir, and I find that it's easiest to mix this together with a fork. Actually, I use 2 forks, and what I do is I just take a little bit of the seasoning and I sprinkle just a little bit over the top, and then I work it together with the 2 forks. Once I get that mixed in just a little bit, I sprinkle a little bit more. And I should also mention, if you like a little bit of a sweeter sausage, you can add a half a tablespoon of sugar. I am leaving it out because I just don't want the extra added sugar in there, but that is something that if you like your sausage a little bit sweeter, you can definitely add that, or you can even add some maple syrup. That would also taste really good. So you can see I'm just working it in a little bit at a time, and basically that's just to keep the seasonings distributed evenly throughout the meat, and that way you don't bite into your sausage and get like a huge clump of seasoning. Now that I have the seasonings fully incorporated in here, I like to use my kitchen scale just because I like them to be perfect. You don't have to do that, you can just eyeball it, but I like them each to be 2 ounces. And I have this little patty maker, and I cover it with plastic wrap, the bottom part and the top part, just because the meat kind of sticks in there, so this makes it easier to get off. But you can totally just use your hands and form them. I'm kind of weird like that. I like to have them exactly 2 ounces and squish them in there and make them perfect. And I have a cookie sheet lined with wax paper, so I'm just going to weigh them each out 2 ounces. Okay, so now that it's 2 ounces, I'm just gonna stick it on here and just gonna push it down till it's flattened out. And then I'm just gonna take it over here to my tray, and I'm just going to put it out on there, and there you have our first patty. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up, and then I'll show you when I'm finished. I'm gonna take plastic wrap, and I'm just going to cover up my cookie sheet here. I'm going to stick this in the freezer for a few hours till they're all frozen, and then I can take them off and put them in a Ziploc bag. Now it's very important whenever you're working with raw meat that you make sure that you disinfect your counter. If you don't have granite, if you have a different kind of countertop, then you can use a Lysol spray, Lysol disinfectant wipes, but if you have granite like I do, you can't use that. So I just made my own disinfectant, and it's the 91% rubbing alcohol mixed with a little bit of water, and I spray my scale down, and then I spray my entire counter down with this to kill any of the bacteria. And it's important to do this even if you don't think that you get any meat anywhere or touch the counter, it's still very important to do that. Also, I've already rinsed out my dishes and put them in the dishwasher, so I'm gonna go ahead and spray out my sink as well because I rinsed all that leftover raw meat down the drain. And so I just want to make sure that I get any bacteria killed that is lingering around in my sink. So I'm just going to let this sit for a few minutes and then I'm going to wipe it down. Here is my turkey breakfast sausage. I took it out of the freezer and put them in this freezer Ziploc bag. And they're really good. I had one for breakfast this morning. So thanks for watching and please subscribe.